time, we ask everyone to please rise. Gentlemen, kindly remove your hats as we honor America, the men and women of our military, and our first responders with the playing of our national anthem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Geisman Gymnasium for today's Northern Athletics Collegiate Conference men's volleyball match between the Sabres of Marian University and the Cougars of Concordia University, Chicago. Let's meet the starting lineups. First, for our visitors from Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, the Marian Sabres. The libero is junior number 1, Aaron Velasco. Junior outside hitter number 7, Derek Wills. Sophomore outside hitter number 11, Isaac Dreifers. Freshman center number 13, AJ Miller. Senior right side hitter number 14, Cam Muller. Sophomore middle blocker number 17, Keanu Oranesis Hayes. And sophomore outside hitter number 26, Trent Gousson. The head coach of the Sabres is Tyler Will. And now, here are the starters for the Concordia Chicago Cougars. The libero is junior number 1, Blake Rosen. Senior middle blocker number 3, Colby Campbell. Senior outside hitter number 4, Luke Bozadalik. Junior outside hitter number 7, David Vale. Senior opposite side hitter number 9, Tyler Holloway. Freshman center number 11, Eli Mosher. And freshman middle blocker number 18, Andre Muller. Assistant coaches are Peter Dabrowski and Alberto Ramos. And the head coach of the Cougars is Greg Manos.
Good afternoon and welcome to the campus of Concordia University, Chicago, where your CUC Cougars are getting set to take on the Sabres of Marian University in some Northern Athletic Collegiate Conference men's volleyball. Peter Borkowski on the call with you, joined by Rafael Gonzalez here on the Cougar Sports Network. Before we get to the matchup today, let's take a look at the starting lineup for each squad. First, for the visiting Sabres, it's the number 7, Derek Wills, number 11, Isaac Dreifers, number 13, AJ Miller, number 14, Cam Mueller, number 17, Keona Orienetzi as Hayes, and number 26, Trent Gousson. Now, the libero for Marian is number 1, Aaron Velasco. Now the starting lineup for your CUC Cougars, it's number 3, Colby Campbell, number 4, Luke Vozenelik, number 7, David Bales, number 9, Tyler Hollebeck, number 11, Eli Mosher, and number 18, Andre Moeller. Head coach for the Sabres is Tyler Wills in his 4th season at the helm. Meanwhile, for the Cougars, it's the first-year head coach, Greg Manos. Raphael, an exciting matchup today between these two NAC opponents. The Cougars, they're coming in one of the hottest teams in the area, 4 straight wins. They have won 8 of their past 9 games, only suffering a loss to Cal Lutheran back on the 4th of this month. And this is just a team where everything's going really well for them. They got the 3-0 sweep over St. Norbert last night, who's a talented squad. So they're looking to continue that hot streak today against Marian.
They are indeed. And, you know, looking at the team in general, they've done a really good job, you know, so far this season. Already at 10 wins. You know, last year they only had 7. So already a much more improved start this year compared to last year, and rolling at the right time.
Gusan gets the service ace, so we're off and running here in River Forest. Marian coming into the match 10-6 overall, 3-2 within NAC play. They are on a 2-game skid, however, suffering losses against opponents Dominican and Aurora over the past week or so. That Aurora game was back on March 4th, and then Dominican was just last night. And as I mentioned, the Cougars currently riding a 4-game win streak, including last night's win over St. Norbert for NAC win number 3 on the year. They sit 3-1 in conference play and 10-7 overall, as Raphael already mentioned, have surpassed last season's wins total. So Chris Livesay checks into the game early for the Cougars to get the serve. His team currently trailing by 2-1. Marian now sets for the attack. That little floater gets over the front line of CUC, lands in no man's land. So Marian gets the point. AJ Miller stands in now. And a missed attack there by Colby Campbell. So Cougars off to a rocky start here against the Sabres, currently down 4-1. As A.J. Miller tries to make it an even bigger lead. Vozenelik gets the touch there. Now he's going to go for the kill. Blocked up front. Great job by the frontline defense. Now instead, Vozenelik a lighter touch. Marian's on top of that one too. That one stays in bounds off the hand of Cam Moeller, and now Marian have jumped out, scored 5 of the first 6 points.
Not a good start for the Cougars, considering they're rolling coming into the day. Off to a slow start.
Rosen gets there for that one. Mosher slams it over the top, dunks it down. Cougars back on the board. And now that Mosher will go back to serve. Eli Mosher, what a season the freshman has been having. Currently sits 4th in the conference in assists per games at 8.65. Marian goes back on the offensive. Blake Rosen's going to send that one to Vozenelik, who sends that over. Marian's right there, however. Ball towards the Cougars bench. They clear the way for Rosen. Colby Campbell sends it over. Blocked up front, Tyler Hollebeck getting the job done alone. And Rafa Hollebeck, such a talented all-around player, only stands at 6'2", but he's incredibly athletic. He's a great offensive threat, as he currently ranks 2nd in the conference in points per set as well as kills per set, but his defense is on point as much as his offense is.
You saw it right there earlier, the block right there is a point right there. Goes to Marian, but we mentioned though, Hollebeck 6'2" right there. Show his defensive work as well up front and that.
This frontline defense, this front court defense, I should say, has been something else for the Cougars. One of the national leaders in blocks per set. Last night against St. Norbert, that 3-0 sweep, they totaled 7 blocks. This is a team that takes pride in that front court defense. As first-year head coach Greg Manos has explained to me in our weekly meetings. Coaches Weeklies can be found on our YouTube page, CUC Sports. And now Luke Vozenelik back to serve. Vozenelik, the offensive star of this Cougar squad, currently leads the NAC in points per set as well as kills per set. There's a great one-handed dig by Blake Rosen. Now David Vales will send it over. Rosen dodges out of the way. Point still goes to Marian, though.
Tough break right there for Rosen, trying to avoid getting hit right there. And it looked like for a second the ball was going to get out of bounds, and unfortunately stay on the end line. It's a tough break for the Cougars.
Inces Hayes to serve now. Native of Hilo, Hawaii. As the Cougars strike there, pull back within 2 now. Tyler Hollaback getting the point. And the interesting thing about Tyler Hollaback, Roth, is we talked about how well-rounded he is, but last year he primarily served as this team's setter. He was out there getting assists, which means he was kind of splitting his duty between outside hitting and being the setter. Now with the emergence of Eli Mosher, Hollaback can focus almost entirely on the offensive side in terms of getting kills and getting points, and he's taken that new role on extremely well, again ranking top 2 in points and kills per set.
Yeah, not only that, as you mentioned about the kills, he came in today with 239 kills. So far this year, being able to focus just on kills itself has been a huge impact for the team.
Hollaback's attempt blocked there by Derek Wills. And another block up front. Marian's come out here at Geisman absolutely fired up.
This is a Marian team that did lose their last 2 games. Before that, they were on a streak of 6 consecutive wins. They're looking to turn things around today.
Cougars have been dominant at home, 8-4, when they're playing on the court with CUC across the middle. Meanwhile, Marian on the road, 2-4. Their loss last night at Dominican, well, as I said, at Dominican, was on the road. So they took a trip down Division Street this afternoon for their match against CUC. And they're currently up on the Red Hot Cougars 9-7.
Nice job there by Muller on the kill, finding the soft spot between Velasco and Combs.
Hollaback sets up Vozenelik there. And blocked up front. Andre Muller getting up there for it.
Already we're seeing the front line defensively putting in the good work right now for the Cougars.
Well, last time Marian took a trip down to River Forest to play CUC was back on March 22nd, 2019. It was a 3-1 loss for the Cougars. The 3 contests since then have all been at Fond du Lac, home of the Sabres. All-time Cougars sit 1-4 against Marian. That most recent loss coming last year, March 5th, 2021, a little over a year ago, a 3-1 victory in favor of the team in blue right now. Hollaback, a strong attempt. That one hits the ceiling, dies down before Marian can get there, and point goes to CUC. They pull within 1.
Hollaback continuing to show just his force right there on the kill attempt.
David Vales has a big wind-up to his serve, gets plenty of distance behind him. And that one tipped and falling. Moeller and or Mosher got some fingertips on it before it died down behind them.
That was an unfortunate situation right there for Mosher and Muller right there. Both were right there in line to get the block. Unfortunately, it just went past, as you mentioned, Peter, their fingertips.
Trent Gousson sends it over the net. Hollaback, number 9 in maroon.
We usually see Hollaback right there. Usually attempt those kills on the far side of the field. That time he did it on the near side, which there were no Marian players right there. So smart decision making by him.
And one of the strongest aspects of Hollebeck's game is his accuracy. You know, you look at Luke Vozenelik, number 4 in maroon, and the guy just has a cannon for an arm, but Hollebeck, while he might not have that strength, he's just so accurate. If he's able to get any kind of speed on it, he's able to pin that ball within the out-of-bounds lines and usually get a kill out of it. Livesey back to serve a second straight time. Cougars have tied up the match at 11. Hollebeck gets a piece of it. Now Mosher is going to set up Vozenelik. Blocked in front, goes out of bounds. And the Cougars take the lead. First lead of the day for CUC. And Rob, what a response by CUC. This was a Marian team who came out extremely hot, led 5-1 at one point. The Cougars, they've clawed their way back. Not only that, they've now taken the lead. And they've just kind of seemed to wake up a little, put things into motion, shape up, and now they're playing that volleyball we've come to used to.
It just shows as a team how much good they are in terms of like being able to refocus and regroup immediately on the fly. As we're back tied up at 12 now, for a point for Marian.
Service number 13, A.J. Miller.
I believe a point right there to Miller.
A.J. Miller to serve. Vozenelik just buries the ball into the blocker's hands. Not much you can do about that one.
Oh, there's a power right there, Vozenelik throwing it down right there on the kill attempt. Just going to show the power behind that.
Marian, a settled attack, and it pays off a Cougars' paw and out of bounds. And we're tied up at 13.
Server is number 25, Carzel Combs.
Carzel Combs is served, played by the Cougars. Point goes the way of CUC.
Coming into today, both teams rank in the top during the conference in opponent hitting percentage. It'll be interesting to see how it ranks up at the end of the day so far.
Well, these are two squads that really pride themselves on their defense, especially the Cougars. Greg Manos, coming from Division I Miami, Ohio, helped develop the defensive strategy for that team, and it's showing off here in his head coaching debut with the Cougars that this is a team that, yes, they have good offensive players like Vozenelik and Hollebeck and Eli Mosher, but this is a team that really prides themselves on their defense, getting blocks, getting good digs. This is a team that's building up from the defense, knowing that the offense will come just from their star players.
And the point right there goes to Marian that time. Goes to Cam Muller.
Cam Muller is the server.
So he'll get buried the server right here as we're all tied at 15.
Service error on Marian. And now we have a real back and forth affair. If you look at the play-by-play, Cougars taking that 12-11 lead. Since then, it has just been alternating points, and that's going to continue here as Marian ties it up once again.
That's the second time already we've seen Mosher and Moeller both right there ready to line up for the block, and both times they were both unfortunate right there to get the block.
Kill attempt there, doesn't go for the Cougars. Moeller is going to try again. Defensive play by Cam Muller made, and a nice attack there, Isaac Dryfirst. And now Marian takes their first lead in a while as we're closing out set one here. Soft serve from Derek Wills. Off Wills' hands. Running play by Velasco. See if Marian can get it over. And they do. It's out of play, however, so the Cougars get the point. Good effort there from the Sabres, especially Velasco. Just were not able to get it back to the Cougar side cleanly.
A tough break right there from Marian. You mentioned the Velasco's defensive efforts right there. Unfortunately, it won't count.
Well, it shouldn't be surprising to see Velasco put that effort in. Currently the conference leader in digs per set, a mark a little over 3, 178 total digs and 57 sets played. So number 1 wearing white right now for Marian on the right side of your screen is the Cougars libero. Blake Rosen also wearing number 1 in white, but Velasco getting the job done all year defensively. Mosher. Moeller, strong attack, blocked back to the Cougar side. Now Vozenelik's going to go for a little floater. Falling effort there by Wills. Falling effort by Rosen. Cougars are not able to recover, and we have our first multi-point lead in quite some time. And Rafa, it's going to be interesting to see how the Cougars respond, as the first step to that is a timeout by Coach Greg Manos. So as the Cougars take a break, we're going to take one up here in the booth as well. Cougars, they trail the Sabres 19-17 here in set 1. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium, Cougars trail the Sabres by a pair, 19-17. Rafa, we're nearing the end of set 1 here, so it's crunch time for Coach Manos and his team. If you had to make your prediction, what do you think the point of emphasis was in that huddle? What do you think this team is coming out going to try to really do well in order to come back and win this first set?
I think the key for them will be their hitting percentage. So far, they only had a 23% hitting percentage when you compare that to Marian's 32%. So while they're only down by 2, they haven't been as efficient compared to Marian so far throughout the opening set.
Service error on Marian. That is not the definition of efficient. So Cougars pull within 1 now, 19-18. Coming in to serve once again, number 12 in maroon, Chris Livesay on the year. Livesay, 7 service errors, 6 service aces, almost a 1-to-1 ratio, which you don't see too often. And an error there by Marian ties us up here in Geisman, 19-19.
With the first set almost closing, it is critical for the Cougars here to get the early jump and win the opening set and take control of the remainder of the game.
Floater popped up high by Eli Mosher. Pop fly there. Played by the Cougars. Blocked. Great read by Chris Livesay. He goes down to his knees to get it. We're still playing here. That one's sent over and out. Cougars take the lead. Talk about a timeout adjustment. 3 straight points for CUC. They now lead 20-19 here in set 1. Cougars get the point there as well. It's now a 2-point lead. 4-touch call on the Sabres. See if Tyler Wills, head coach of Marian, will want to use his timeout as his team went from up by 2 to now down by 2 since Greg Manos used that timeout. Served by Livesay. Set here. Blocked up front, popping up his own rebound was Drive First. And a strong attempt from Drive First goes out of bounds, and the Cougars now sit just 3 points away from a set 1 victory.
And Peter, I mentioned earlier how Marian, how efficiently they were hitting it, before the timeout, but since then they just cannot catch a break. Multiple service errors.
Block,
Errors.
blocked up front. Blocked again. Cougars have to play this block, though. Hollebeck, not sure if that was the blockers or the net that caught that one. Some combination of both likely. And Marian finally ends the Cougars scoring run. 5 straight points for CUC out of timeout. And Rafa, if you're Coach Manos, that's really what you want to see. You call a timeout, get your team readjusted, get them recollected, and they come out and they score 5 straight points. They did exactly what they needed to do.
And not only that, is they get another point right there, but what it also did as well is it slowed down Marian's momentum, and they had to sort of, start over again. And what happened, you saw the scoring run, and now, since the timeout, the Cougars have just dominated here and up by 3 late in the set.
23-20, 2 away from match point. 2 away from winning the match, should clarify there. Wills plays it. Velasco sends it over to the opposing libero, Blake Rosen. Here goes Hollebeck. Good dig, sends it right back to the Cougars. Hollebeck again, and a solo block up front by Dreyfus.
Dreyfus not known right there for his blocking ability. See, that time, though, more often known for his attacks. However, that time, he does a good defensive work right there.
Well, Dreyfus ranks second on the Marian squad in total points at 172.5. Pulling out the defense and an absolute rocket, Luke Vozenelik. You're on the wrong end of that. There's not much you could do to slow it down. And now the Cougars match point. 24 serving 21. Luke Vozenelik back to do so. Gets the signal from Coach Manos. And it lands inside the lines. Service ace to end the set. Cougars, they take set 1, 25-21. Look over some of the stats before we head to the break. The kills leader from the set, Tyler Hollebeck with 5. Right behind him was a trio of Luke Vozenelik for the Cougars, and then Isaac Dreyfus and Cam Mueller for the Sabres. Your current assist leader is A.J. Miller with 13. Now, Eli Mosher not too far behind him with 10. Meanwhile, getting it done defensively, Diggs-wise, with Derek Wills with 4. And we have 6 players tied with a block each. So we'll have more breakdown of this set 1 victory for CUC in just a minute. Cougars take set 1, 25-21. We're going to take a break here and be back in just a minute with set 2 action. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium. Before we get down into the breakdown of set 1, just want to remind Cougar fans that you can head over to CUCougars.com for everything CUC athletics related, including the men's volleyball team. All you got to do is click sports, find whatever team you're looking for, and there you can look at rosters, schedules, stats, social medias, and more. Once again, that's CUCougars.com. Right here in Geisman, however, Cougars take that first set 25-21 And Ralph, I think that turning point, which we already talked about, was that timeout late in set one. Marian up 19-17. Coach Manos uses his first of 2 timeouts. Didn't even use the second one because the Cougars, they then went on a 7-3, scoring run to close out the set. Barely did anything wrong, while Marian, they just struggled to get it going again.
They did, and, we were talking about, before the break, how efficiently they were hitting their attacks. They were at a 32% before the timeout, but since then, they're now only at a 13%, and it's all self-inflicted errors by Marian. The Cougars didn't have to do much at the end of the set, and they just took advantage of their opportunities, and now, now they won the first set, but, dating back to their last 2 games, which they won against Volleyball and St. Norbert, they've now won 7 in a row in sets. There you go.
Well, that set win streak is actually at 8 if you also include that final set victory over Wabash. Excuse me, it's at 9. The last 2 set victories over Augustana. What I meant to say. Took on Augustana and Baldwin Wallace this past Wednesday in the maroon and gold triangular. Cougars walked away 2-0. Taking down Augustana in 5 sets, and then Baldwin Wallace in 3.
Be interesting to see how Marian comes out of the second set. All the momentum they had just sort of got sucked away at the end of the opening set. So interesting to see how Coach Willis and them regroup.
For the Cougars, number 7, David Vales will serve.
So David Vales set to serve to start set 2. You can see how far he goes back on these serves, well beyond the baseline on the basketball court. The serve is over. It's a good one, and a little too much sauce on it, that one, as it ends up in the back of the gym. Cougars come out, get the first point of set number 2.
Already good start there, and another, attack error that time from Marian from Nick Stash, number 6.
Wills, it hits the ceiling. Some miscommunication there. Nick Stash as well as Carzel Combs both came in to make a play on that falling ball, and neither of them did.
Another self-inflicting error right there for Marian. It's been the key now these past few minutes.
Well, Marian leads the attack errors category 10-5. Almost an accidental dig from Tyler Hollowbeck, and a great intentional dig there from Carzel Combs. And that ball gets tipped around. Getting another hand on it was Nick Stash, I believe, and that sent it over a diving back row helper. So now the Cougars, they come out, continue their hot streak from the end of set 1, lead 3-1. 3-0, excuse me. Make that 4-0. Service ace for David Vales.
Right now, the Cougars just seem unstoppable now. It looks like Marian right now. It looks like almost they have ice in their feet right now. It's just frozen right now. Unable to make any adjustments.
And this isn't something that's that surprising for the Cougars. This is a team that is very good in set 2 play, as Marian finally gets on the board here in set 2. Against Baldwin Wallace, Cougars won that first set 25-20, and then absolutely dominated the second set 25-14. Their win against St. Norbert last night. Won that first set 25-18, and then won that second set an even better 25-17. So this is a team who really knows how to make set-to-set adjustments, continue any hot play, and it's a team that usually improves from the first set to the second.
Now that, if you even look further down, their last time they lost the second set was against Concordia, Wisconsin, back on the 18th of February. So they've been on a roll in the second set throughout the past month.
Back serving is Chris Livesey. Marian's going to have to play it. Wills off the blocker's hands and into the Cougars bench over the jumping Livesey. And now Marian back within 3 as Stash goes back to serve, a senior setter out of Des Plaines, Illinois, Maine West High School graduate. Stash's serve popped up by Vozenelik, a hit by Campbell. Colby Campbell, not someone you always see taking the attempts on the year. 123 total attempts. One of the lower numbers amongst the CUC starters, but what Campbell's really known for, of course, is his defense. Last season set the single season record for assisted blocks and total blocks as a Cougar. And this year, he's continued that strong play in the NAC. He's currently sitting at first in blocks per set at 8.01. And Rafa, in our last Coaches Weekly I had with Coach Manos yesterday, he talked about the importance of Colby Campbell, not only to the front court, but just his defense as a whole, even energy-wise.
Having a defensive presence like Campbell is such a viable thing that a team needs. And with his defense, it's sort of like, you know, helps bring the team back together. And it's been also so critical to how much success the Cougars have had this year defensively.
Servers number 26, Trent Guson.
Trent Guson back to serve now. Gives the ball a good couple dribbles before finally sending over. A high pop-up by Blake Rosen. Veils now. A couple Sabres run into each other, so Cougars get the point.
Yeah, the miscommunication right there by Derek Wills, number 7, and number 26, Guson right there. Unlucky right there for both of them. There's a little bit of communication. Could have gone a long way for both.
Decent crowd here in Geisman today. It's the last weekend of spring break, so students coming back today and tomorrow before classes resume on Friday. Good amount of family members as well. And now the Sabres, they're going to have to use a timeout as Coach Wills sees his team down by 5, 9-4 early in set 2. So we're going to take a breather up here as well. Be back in just a minute on the Cougar Sports Network. Back on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougars up 9-4 on the visiting Marian Sabres. And Rafa, this is a team that's doing everything right now if you're the Cougars. Again, ever since really that timeout called by Coach Manos towards the end of set 1 when his team was down by 2, this is a brand new Cougars team than what we saw through the majority of that first set. I mean, they weren't playing bad by any means stretch of the imagination, but since that timeout, this team is just absolutely lighting the Sabres up, not doing anything to look back, and Marion's struggling to keep up with it.
Yeah, it's been a tale of, you know, at the beginning, the Cougars looked a little bit flat at first, but since then they have been re-energized and rejuvenated, and it's been so far the key factor. Marian, they're playing on the back foot. Back keeps it in the air, and it's going to be a point there for Marian.
So Sabres get a point, 9-5 now. Well, we saw how well the Cougars came out after their timeout late in set 1. Now we'll see what Marian could do after their timeout early in set 2, as going back to serve is Cam Mueller. Blake Rosen pops it up. Veils, that attack stayed on the net. Haven't seen that before, really, as the Cougars are back on the offensive. Hollebeck for the kill. It's out of play. Marian within 3 now.
Solid for Hollenbeck right there. Not a good start so far, hitting efficiently so far. Now at less than 1%. Only 7% hitting.
Sabres get a point there. 4-touch rule called on the Cougars, and now Marian. We saw it in set 1 for the Cougars. That timeout is proving extremely beneficial for the visiting team in blue, Rafa. And we're going to have to see what the Cougars are going to do to be able to slow this down as they miraculously keep it in play somehow. Except Marian catches the Cougars off balance. Now Coach Manos up, gives his team some instructions as they're now found themselves up by just 1.
You saw their last point right there by Stash, just gently grabbing the ball and moving it towards the middle right there.
Service error from Cam Mueller, and Rafa, this could be where the Cougars regain some of that momentum. They were struggling to get anything going themselves, but now Marian makes a mistake on the serve. Cougars got to capitalize, get some more points off of this.
They did so at the end of the first set. Now they look to do it again right here.
Mosher, Vales blocked up front. Mueller can't get it up in time. And CUC back up by just 1.
Just spoke how this is going to be an opportunity potentially for the Cougars to sort of regain control. But just like that, Marian again now will have control of the serve. As Combs will get set to serve it right here.
Blocked up front. Marian keeps it going. Wills sends it over. Cougars send it back. And now just sending the freebie over as Wills. Moeller the attack. Some nice defense on both sides of the net as it finally ends in favor of Marian, and we are tied up now, 10 points apiece.
Good defensive effort there that time by Marian to keep it alive right there, and they get rewarded with the point.
Combs. His serve played by Rosen. Mosher. Hollaback gets the Cougars back on top with that kill. 11-10 now. David Vales back to serve.
With Hollaback, it's his 6th kill of the game. That ties him and Lozenlik with both with 6, leading the team.
Well, we've almost seen a reverse of what happened in set 1. Marian, as the Cougars get another point there, now lead 12-2. In set 1, Marian jumped out to a big lead at first. Then the Cougars clawed their way back in. Things were tight for most of the middle of the set, and then the Cougars really pulled away at the end of things. In this set, Cougars take a big lead at first. Marian claws back in, and now we're going to have to see how this middle set goes as Marian pulls back within 1.
Attack right there by Mueller, the senior, again. Now with that, it'll be his 5th kill of the game.
Or indeed says Hayes serves. And eventually leads to a CUC point. And the Cougars up by 2 now. Livesay back into serve. Blocked up front, Campbell. Vozenelik, it's back though. Backcourt defense by Vales, keeps the ball alive. And this one goes over the net and out of play. Cougars increase their lead back to 3. They've done a good job of responding to that Marian run as they're back on top by 3.
And now for a chance here to further extend the lead and take control here in the midway point of the second set.
Livesay serves once again. Marian goes for the settled attack. Violation called. 2-touch on Marian. The run continues for CUC.
It's those small self-inflicted errors that have cost Marian right here in a game in which it's been really tight throughout the opening set and a half. And
Luke Vozenelik looking like a men's basketball player out there where he dunked that one over the net. And CUC on a 4-0 scoring run as they are getting closer and closer to point number 20. Livesay another serve. And Marian finally breaks the run. Clean kill there Now they'll try to go on a run of their own to respond with Nick Stash serving. Derek Wills with the kill. Mosher. Zenelik popped up and played by Mosher. No, played by, excuse me, it's Derek Wills. So Marian did their best to keep it going. Not good enough, though, as Cougars back up by 5.
For the first time in this set now, the Cougars have a pretty good sizable lead right here.
Blocked up front. Point goes to Marian, though. That one hit the pin. So Sabres serving with Derek Wills doing the honors. Wills, a 6'4" junior out of Dubuque, Iowa. Mosher now sets up Vozenelik, and when Vozenelik gets a clean set like that, Rafa, there's not much you could do to slow him down just because of how much power he puts behind these attempts.
All the Marian players can do is just pray and hope they get the ball right there, but it's not right there, the power and the speed right there of Vozenelik right there coming through.
Whistle blown, point Cougars. Net violation on Marian. And their lead increases once again to 6 now. Vozenelik. Falling to his knees for the dig was Wills. A strong attempt there by Drive First, curtailed by Vozenelik. Marian trying to set something up. They get it and they execute.
With an executor right there by Muller right there on the near side right there. They kept it in bounds at a tight angle. Normally the opposite hitter.
Mueller first on the Sabres squad with 217 total points. On the season, he ranks 5th in conference in points per set with 3.81. As this ball is just taking a couple bounces on Marian's side, they go right after Eli Mosher. He can't do much to react. And the Sabres closing this gap, pull within 4 now.
Ball right there, just whack right there in the chest right there of the freshman Moser right there. And just not much you could do right there, reacting at that moment.
Strong attempt goes nowhere.
Well done right there, defensively right there by Kobe Campbell. And it gives the Cougars the point and back up to a 5-point lead.
5 points away from the 2-0 match lead, and coming in to serve is the freshman Deontay Garcia. A native of Aurora, Colorado, the 5'7" freshman. A defensive specialist, has gotten plenty of experience this season, especially for freshman standards. On the year, 57 sets played. Mostly used in a serving role, 13 aces, 18 errors on the year for number 14 in maroon. Marian able to capitalize on that volleyball. Taking a curve through the air. That one hits the top of the net. Moeller forces it down. Cougars 4 away from a set 2 win.
Muller right there using his 6'5" height right there to his advantage right there, jumping up and just tossing the ball gently across the net.
Hollaback. That one takes a block, but gained up for it was Blake Rosen as well as Luke Vozenelik in the vicinity. Velasco gets it to the front court. Blocked up front, but it drops down. So Dryford gets the kill. And now Marian will get control of the ball as they're quickly running out of set to play here as the Cougars just 4 away from a victory. cones. A little bit of a misplay by Vozenlik. Cooper's able to recover nicely and gain it done up front was Nick Stash as well as Orion Etzes Hayes. And that'll force Greg Manos to use his first timeout of the set. Cougars, they're up 21-18 over the Sabres, so we'll take a break here. Be back in just a second on the Cougar Sports Network. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports, for new digital content, interviews, and all broadcasts on the Cougar Sports Network. Now you can become a channel member for just $5 a month and receive exclusive access to content as well as the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. Again, it's just $5 a month. All you got to do is go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, and click the join button if you want to become a member. But if you don't at the time, you can still donate to the CUC Athletic Communications Department and continue to improve broadcasts like the one you're watching just by clicking the thank button on any video. No matter what you do, even if you're just watching, we sincerely thank you for all of your support. We got a good one here in River Forest, and a service ace, and getting fired up about it is Carzell Combs. The Chicago Heights native slammed the floor after that service ace. I just don't think the Cougars were really ready for it, as no one even moved to go after it. And a pancake there. This Marian team getting fired up a little as they trail the Cougars by 2. Rosen palms that one over. Now Moeller goes up and tips it over. Andre Moeller went up as well as Nick Stash. Moeller won the battle.
Beautiful job right there by Moeller again right there at the front line defensively, putting in the good work.
Now David Vales to serve. Cougars up by 3. 3 away from set victory as well. Strong attack blocked up front. We'll wait for the official's call, and it goes to the Cougars. Marian's players as well as Coach Tyler Wills not happy with the call. I think Marian's trying to argue it hit the blocker's hands and went out of bounds. I think the officials are saying it hit the net instead. So whatever actually happened, Cougars got the point out of that one. Marian gets one there with a pinpoint shot to the corner of the court.
Marian here will have to be pretty much spotless from here on out the remainder of the set if they want to win it.
They can afford one more mistake, as the Cougars just need 2 points to win the set. Now, it says Hayes serve. Rozenowicz, a big shot blocked up front. This gets some blockers' hands on it. Vales to Mosher, tries to force it over. Right there is Marian. We're still going. And that one stays within play. The Sabres win a great volley and pull within 2 now.
Things are getting very interesting here at the end of the second set.
Andre Moeller, his shot goes out.
A timeout.
Force a timeout from Coach Manos, as his team now finds themselves up by just 1, 23-22 in set 2. Rafa, we're gonna stay here because I want to hear what you think. What do the Cougars need to do to close this set out? They need just 2 points. Marian, on the other hand, absolutely hot right now, pulled within 1. So what do the Cougars need to do strategy-wise to close this one out?
I think they have to like regroup and just like take a quick breather right here. And what's more interesting than that is that you go back in the first set, Marian were up ahead early on, and the Cougars at the end of the second set came back on the scoring run and won it. Now here in the second set, Cougars were up at one point by over 5, and since then, Marian have since slowly have brought the lead back down to 1. So it's going to be a very interesting way how this set is going to end and who is going to come out to the third set with momentum, which it's critical here for the Cougars to win the second set and now sort of, you know, have control of the remainder of the game.
About 5 seconds left on the timeout. Cougars, they need 2 to win set 2. Marian, they need 3. But remember, you do have to win by 2 in volleyball, so we could get some extra volleyball here as these two teams are neck and neck here late in set 2. We'll wait to see who's serving. It will be Combs. Excuse me. Combs stops before continuing to walk to the service line. Checking in is Dante Pulfis, sophomore outside hitter from Chicago, and he will be the one to serve.
Serving for the Sabres will be number 23, Dante Pulfis.
Pulpus only 2 set aces this year.
Little room for error if you're Marian. Is Vozenelik. Ball stays alive. The Marian crowd goes crazy here in Geisman. This one batted around a couple times at the net. Now Mosher, Vozenelik one more time, popped up, hits the ceiling. Pulfis makes the play on it. We are still going on this volley. Muller, an errant attack, and now we are tied up at 23.
And just like that, Marian with a 4-0 run. I said they had to be nearly spotless here to remain the second set, and so far they have done so big time.
Pulfis. Now, at this point, one of these two teams can still win at 25 points. It has to be the Cougars now. If Marian scores a point and ties things up, we will have to go into some extra volleyball. And you got to win by 2. And going back to serve to see if he could finish the job to the tune of Queen is Chris Livesay. Hopefully going to give the Cougars a good time here if he can get a service ace or at least help lead to a Cougars set winning point. Vales. Vozenelik. It's popped up. Marian. Desperation mode. They send it over Velasco. Cougars, though, they're going to have another settled attack. Vozenelik. Another dig. Marian defensively pulling out all the stops. David Vales. Mosher tries to flip it over. Marian ties it at 24. Fantastic read on the Mosher play from the Marian defense.
What a job right there, and an incredible sequence of events right there. And just like that, all tied up here. Marian, all momentum.
Stash. Rosen. Campbell tries to dunk it down. Marian all over it. Blocked up front. It hits a face and goes out. The Cougars blocker sending that one right into the face of Nick Stash. And they have set point once again.
Sure, we'll serve it right now.
And it's out, and that will do it for set 2. So Marian makes things very interesting in the end of set 2, but an attack error seals their fate. Cougars win the set 26-24. Look over some of the stat leaders before we head to the break. Luke Vozenelik leading all killers in kills with 9. Right behind him is Derek Wills with 7 assists. Taking the lead is Eli Mosher with 18. The Diggs leader on the other hand, we have a tie. Cam Muller with 8. Derek Wills with 8. And then David Bales with 8. Meanwhile, blocked quite a couple players with 2, but the leader is, of course, Colby Campbell. Who else with 3 blocks? So Cougars, they take set 2, dramatic fashion, 26-24. We're going to take a break up here in the booth. Be back in a little bit for set 3. Cougars look to finish off the Sabres, while the Sabres trying to force set number 4. Set 3 about to start here. Cougars looking to finish off the Sabres. Before that, though, want to shout out everyone making today's production possible on the Cougar Sports Network. Our producer, Ryan McGee, helping direct the camera work of Amaya Martin. And meanwhile, on the far side of the court, we have Kate Johnson helping out with the stats on the scores table. And then, of course, my partner for the day, Rafael Gonzalez. We are under direction of Claire Hickey, Sydney Palacios-Slaher, and our sports information director, Kayla McLeod. Rafa, Cougars look to go for sweep number 3 in a row, having swept St. Norbert and Baldwin Wallace in their last 2 games. Now they have a chance to do it here in set 3 against Marian. Let's get your thoughts really quick. What do the Cougars need to do to finish off Marian? Because that was a very good Marian team we saw in that second set. Almost pulled off the comeback. Now, Cougars know they got their work cut out for them. What do they really need to focus on to be able to pull away with this 3-set victory?
What they need to do in order to win the third set, and hopefully for them it will be the final set, is for them to sort of continue doing what they've been doing well so far. They've done a really good job on attacking-wise so far. With their hitting percentage is at 13, while Marian is slightly below theirs, which continues to show how good as well defensively the Cougars have done. We've seen several blocks so far. We've seen Kobe Campo make a few blocks, which shows his elite defensive presence. And as long as they keep continuing that defensive work, that will be the key for them to hopefully come away with a win in the third and what they hope to be the final set.
Well, it seems we have a new libero in the game for Marian. As now wearing black in the middle of the court is Carzell Combs, the senior. Aaron Velasco started the day as the libero for Marian, the conference leader in sets in digs per set, and right now he is nowhere to be found on the Marian bench, so might be dealing with some injury. Meanwhile, Luke Vozenelik gets things started off right with the kill. Cougars up 1-0.
Vozenelik now, that's going to be his 10th kill, the first player from either team to be in double digits in kills.
Livesay serve will turn into a service ace. And the Cougars up by 2 now.
Saw there what happened. Combs right there. Ball went directly past his fingertips. And because of that, Cougars up to nothing.
Well, Rafael, you mentioned Luke Vozenelik in double-digit kills on the match. The last time he had less than 10 kills was against Trinity Christian College back on March 1st. He only had 5 in that one. And then the last time this season before that he had single-digit kills was never. That is his only game on the season with single-digit kills, so shows just how dominant number 4 in maroon is. Popped it up by a fading number 6, Jose Padron. And Padron's back there again. Mosher behind the back set, and Hollaback sends it into the net. So 2-2 is the score now. And here's Velasco wearing number 27 now. That's why it was hard to spot him earlier. So Velasco gets switched out of the libero spot in favor of Combs, and he gets an ace right off the bat. That one off the forearms of Rosen and into the scoreboard here in Geisman.
Velasco right there, just using all his force behind that one right there.
Velasco set to serve again. So he follows up his service ace with a service error. The Cougars tie things up now at 3. Eli Mosher to serve. Wills pops it up. And going for the floating attack was Orin Etz's Hayes. Sabres earn the point in the end. Take the lead back 4-3. Ornitz's Hayes serve once more. Rosen, Mosher. Colby Campbell with the one-handed attempt. That one over the net. Cougars let it drop out of play. Tied up at 4 again. Luke Vozenelik to serve. Vozenelik, Velasco. Wills, diving one-handed dig by Rosen proves futile as it goes out of play. And now we're seeing just back and forth points traded between the two teams. So serving is Mueller. Rosen goes all the way down for that one. Now Hollaback blocked up front. Rosen keeps it alive. Hollaback got a hand on it, but he's too low at that point. And Sabres now have a multi-point lead. The first 2-point lead in the set since the Cougars were up 2-0 at the very beginning. And a little too strong from Mueller.
Garcia here will serve it up.
Dante Garcia. Falling to the ground is Wills. Makes the play though. Garcia. Bad angle on that one. And now Blake Rosen checks back in. Mosher, Moeller, Hollaback up front, Vozenelik, Padron, and Rosen in the back. Rosen, Mosher, Padron. Marian all over that one. Falling, Vozenelik makes the play. Battle up in front of the net for it. Vozenelik, Mosher. Hollaback just kind of sets that one over. Blocked up front, a trio of Cougars that pays off. Hollaback, Moeller, Padron, and the Cougars pull back within one, 7-6.
Good job. Defensive right there. Once again, the front line doing good work for the Cougars.
Hollaback popped up by Combs. Marian on the attack now, sends that one right inside the line. They build that 2-point lead back up.
Hollenbeck right there, kicking himself right there, letting the ball go right past him right there.
Marian, it's do or die right now. They lose this third set, they're going home with a loss. Meanwhile, if they win, they then go to a do or die set 4 as that one goes out of bounds. Cougars start celebrating before it even hits the ground. They knew what was going to happen. Now they pull back within 1, 7 serving 8.
Server is number 6, Jose Pedro.
10th straight home match for the Cougars the last time they were on the road, way back in February 18th at Concordia University, Wisconsin. That was a 3-1 loss as Marian gets the point here. Now, granted, of this home stretch the Cougars are currently in, there have been 3 triangulars hosted here, so two games in one day. Still a lot of home cooking as of late for the Cougars. As Marian uses some nice defense to keep it over. Combs makes a diving effort. We are still alive. Vozenelik off the blocker's hands. Combs. Now they're going to go for the set. Whistle blown. Point Marian.
Marian up by 3 now. Look at it finally pull away in the set.
Well, after this 10-game homestand for the Cougars, they will go on the road for 3 straight NAC contests as Vozenelik dunks that one down with one hand. Starts this Wednesday, March 15th. Cougars travel to the Illinois Institute of Technology to take on the Scarlet Hawks. Then that following Saturday, they'll be at Rockford University, and then March 24th, they'll be at Wisconsin Lutheran College before finally returning home here on March 29th to take on Benedictine University.
Nice finish right there by Campbell right there, getting his hands right in front of the net.
And Rafa, this is what the Cougars need. They've been losing by 2-3 points to the Sabres, and you can't start trading points if you want to come back from that. You need to go on a run, and they have a nice 2-point run here, but work isn't done yet.
No, the work is far from over so far for the Cougars, and as you mentioned, they cannot keep on trading points. At some point, they have to establish a run, a 4-0 run or a 5-0 run to sort of, put the pressure back on Marian, because otherwise, Marian right now, they're cruising ahead. They're like, hey, we'll continue to trade points for the remainder of the set. We'll win it.
Velasco to serve. Now we're in 27 in blue. A strong serve. I think you could hear that one come off his hand back in Fond du Lac. A little too much on it, however, as the Cougars pull back within 1. 10 serving 11. 11 serving in Eli Mosher. Going down for it is Wills. And a strong shot there. Orientes Hayes.
Good finish right there by Marian. Mosher right there. Just defensiveness right there that time.
Orientes Hayes' serve into the net. And Luke Vozenelik to serve. Try to see if he could tie it up here. His team, we have not had a tie in this set in quite some time. As we finally have one here, 12-12. Last time the set was tied was when it was 4-4. Since then, Marian has been on top, and they are on top once again. Cam Mueller to serve. Elgin, Illinois native, a senior, 6'6", right side hitter. Leads the team in points per set, 5th in the conference in that category, as well as the #1 player in that conference. Luke Vozenilek. Maybe some confusion on when the volley ended there. Either way, Marian comes out on top, now up by 2, 14-12.
So far, Marian been playing with such confidence here in the set, sort of what they lacked in the opening 2 sets.
Mueller. And here goes Padron, blocked up front. Rosen falling, able to get it still. Padron that hits the blockers again. Velasco right there. Campbell goes up for the stuff. In response is Mark Ray. Now Cougars have control of it. Hollaback blocked. Rosen there as well. Mosher. Hollaback again. Blocked again! And that'll end in the Marian point.
Marian again defensively have done such a better job here in the set. Getting work together as a timeout is called by the Cougars.
Coach Manos uses his first timeout of the set. This team down by 3, 15-12 here in set number 3. They're looking to close out the Sabres up 2-0 on the match. And we'll be back in the Cougar Sports Network in just a minute to see if they can do it. Set 3 about to resume here. Rafa, Cougars down by 3 to the Sabres. What does Coach Manos' squad have to do here coming out of the timeout? What adjustments do they have to make, not only to get back in this one, but hopefully take the lead and sweep the Sabres out of Geisman?
They need to do the better jobs hitting the ball efficiently, particularly in the kills area. So far, their hitting percentage has dipped further down to only 8%, and like outside of Luke Rosalick, so far, there hasn't been anyone else who's really done a good job hitting up to this point. And there needs to be, look at Tyler Hollenbeck right there. He's someone who needs to step it up more efficiently here in this third set, hitting-wise.
Muller, Rosen to Padron off of Mosher's set. Mosher pops it up. Rosen now going to try to set Padron. Blocked up front. Great save there, Luke Vozenilek. And the Cougars cannot respond to the follow-up attack. And Marian now up by 4, 16-12.
Rosen right there, unable to get there in time was Rosen. And now the lead back up to 4 for Marian.
Strong serve there. Cougars right on top of it. Colby Campbell, his attempt causes a violation, so point to the Sabres again. They're now up by 5, 17-12. Coach Manos still has one timeout to use in this set. As that one hits the top of the net and drops down for the point, and there's the timeout by Coach Manos. His team, they were down by 3 just a minute ago. Now they're down by 6, 18-12 in favor of Marian. So the Cougars will talk things over one more time, try to figure out what they need to do to come back within this one. Meanwhile, fans, you can head over to CUCougars.com, find out all sorts of information about every athletic team here at Concordia University Chicago, like the men's volleyball team. All you have to do is click on sports, find the team you're looking for, and you can see roster, schedule, stats, and more. Once again, that's CUCougars.com. Mentioned it earlier, this is a Cougars team who's not beaten Marian since 2021. over 3 years ago, March 6th. A 3-1 victory at Fond du Lac. But this is a much different Cougars team than we've seen before. Playing extremely good volleyball, defeated Dominican for the first time in program history earlier in the year. And now they have a chance to sweep another conference opponent out of the building, just like last night. They got some work to do if they're going to do it, though, as Tyler Hollaback gets them started on the right foot out of the timeout.
So Hollaback, his first kill in quite a while, but that is just what the Cougars need right now for him to sort of step up here the remainder of the set.
Serving is Deontay Garcia. And a floater off the hand of Ray finds the court. And Derek Wills to serve now. This is also an extremely experienced Marian squad. Not many freshmen out on the court. Not a lot of them have been getting playing time tonight as well. As a service ace there builds the lead to 7 now.
First time in quite a while. First time really we've seen the Cougars be down this much so far in the opening, part of this game. As a point goes to the Cougars right there off of the service error.
So 2014 in favor of Marian. Cougars got some work to do to get back in this one. Combs. Marian on the attack, and it hits the court. And Rafa, Marian's doing a really good job of attacking in between the front and back court rows. They're getting it just over the blockers' hands or off their fingertips, but in front of the backcourt defense.
And because of that, it has helped them, increase this lead, and it's something that we haven't seen them do that well in the opening 2 sets. But in the 3rd set here, they finally have found themselves a rhythm and are not that far away to potentially winning the 3rd set.
Serve there, played by the Cougars and blocked by Marian. 22, serving 14.
So there, Sarge and Hayes, where they're using their 6'3" frame, both of them right there for the block.
Cougars play it. Mosher to Hollaback, popped up by Marian. And that one finds the back of the court. Point 23 for Marian now. Javian, Velasco is served, played by Rosen. Mosher forces it over. Miscommunication there results in the Cougars point. They can allow one more Marian point, but the Cougars, they got to score 8 to tie it up now.
Serving is number 6,
Jose Padron to serve, gets the signal from Coach Manos. Jose wearing the highlighter green and pink shoes. Strong attack, point Marian. And now we have set point here as Nick Stash goes back to see if he can finish it off. Cougars, a 9-point run is needed. Padron, Mosher, Moeller is batted back to the Cougars. Buzenelik batted back again, and Marian. They take set 3. The Sabres aren't done yet. Win the set 25-15. Cougars still up 2-1 in the best of 5 match. Some of the stats leaders before we head to the break. Luke Buzenelik and Isaac Dryfurst tied for total kills with 12 each. Derek Wills with 11 kills is in second, and then Tyler Hollaback and Cam Moeller both have 7 for third. Assist, it's Eli Mosher with 21. Diggs as Derek Wills with 11, and blocks is still Colby Campbell, but he's now joined by Mark Ray with 4 each. So the Cougars drop set 3 to the Sabres. We're going to head to set 4. Cougars can still win the match. Marian, they have to win to force set 5. Find out what happens right here on the Cougar Sports Network. Set number 4 about to kick off here in Geisman. Cougars, they lead Marian 2-1, but Rafa, we just saw absolute domination in that second set. Marian taking it 25-15, and right now I don't really want to focus on X's and O's, but rather the mentality aspect of this game, the mental aspect of this game. Cougars, you had a chance to sweep Marian out. Now instead you dropped set 3 by 10 points to a Sabres team who's incredibly fired up right now. What do these Cougars players need to be thinking right now to pull off this match victory here in set 4? Not necessarily what do they need to do playing-wise, but what needs to be going through their head.
For them, they need to reset their minds. Right now, they cannot look at the fact that, oh, we're winning up 2-1, but rather just go back. It's a new set, 0-0. Forget about what happened in the last set. And more importantly, that look to sort of, gain sort of a rhythm to start here. Go maybe like on a 3-0, 4-0 run and sort of jump a little bit ahead and sort of try to, continue to have the lead throughout the remainder of the set. Because what happened in the previous set, Marian, once they took control of the game in the third set, they did a really good job extending that lead. And, for the Cougars, if they can get up ahead early on in the sets, they could do the exact same thing that Marian did previously in the third set.
So Marian looks to continue the hot hand from set 2. They won that one 25-15. Meanwhile, Cougars need to regroup and get back to playing that volleyball we saw in the first 2 sets. And we thought that would be a Cougars point. The players were acting like it. Instead, it goes the way of Marian. Mark Ray to serve now, number 10. Senior out of Mundelein, Illinois. Bozanovic plays a couple outs from his bench and said he's going to take care of it himself. Whistle blown. 2-touch called on Marian, so Cougars earn the point, and we're tied up at 1 now.
What was very interesting about the previous set was just how as well Marian it's the first time we see either team dominate a set so far. And it's going to be interesting to see for the Cougars, can they sort of do the same thing that Marian did to them in the previous set?
Chris Livesay to serve. Livesay's serve played by Velasco and trying to just jam it over was Ornitas Hayes. And now Livesay will serve one more time. Livesay, excuse me. His serve is played by Marian. Falling to one knee for it is Hollaback. Trying to just float it over was Vozenelik. Now Will's a strong shot. It's up on the ceiling. Mosher able to play it and sending it over as a freebie is Hollaback. Blocked up front, the Wills attempt is. Now Mosher, Campbell tries to slam it home. Instead, Stash and Ornitas Hayes say no, 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 and block it, send it back to the Cougars. And we are tied up at 2 now. Serve there from Stash. Vozenelik blocked up front again. Blake Rosen right there for the rebound. This one over the blocking Vozenelik. Mosher to Vozenelik. His attack out of play. And Sabres take the lead 3-2.
It's been a struggle as of late for the Cougars. On their attacks and their kills so far have been very inefficient as of late.
Vozenelik for Mosher for Campbell. Breaking out the offensive repertoire and gets the kill. We're tied up at 3 apiece now.
We often talk about Campbell, how his work is defensively up at the front, but that time he gets a little bit of the show there, right there, of him attacking as an offensive player.
Blocked up front by Campbell. Offense and defense from number 3 in maroon. And this one goes into the net.
Point Sabres.
So Sabres
Service number 7, Derek Will.
get the point, take the lead back, and now Derek Wills to serve. And here's Hollaback, blocked up front. Not knowing where it was Mueller, and it lands out of bounds. Doesn't matter, so Cougars tied up at 4 now. David Vozenelik, and Mueller keeps it in bounds. Gives the lead right back to the Sabres. And Ruff, that's something the Sabres have done a really good job of since the beginning of the last set, which is not allowing the Cougars to go on any big runs. Even when the Cougars get a point or even 2 in a row, Marian's always there with the response, gets a point of their own, and again, just does not allow the Cougars to really get any kind of momentum.
They have done a really good job, as of you mentioned, with limiting momentum. There's a point that time goes to the Cougars right there on the attack. But as you mentioned, though, Marian's done a really good job, you know, not allowing the Cougars to go on a run. And if they continue to keep on doing that, they will have a chance here in the sense to sort of pull it back and, you know, go to a 5th set maybe.
Well, taking a look at the standings, Cougars currently sit 2nd in the conference with their 3-1 NAC record. Meanwhile, Marian right outside a playoff spot at 7 at 3-2. Still plenty of volleyball left to be played, as most teams are now starting to hit the real stretch of conference games. Cougars take a lead 6-5 off that point.
So right there, he took advantage right there of M25. Comes right there, only at 5'5" right there, taking advantage right there of his lack of height.
Garcia, serve hits the net, so we're tied up again off the service error from the CUC freshman. Cam Mueller to serve.
Serena's number 14, Cam Mueller.
Hollaback blocked up front using the fingertips of Mark Ray and drive first, and now this one hits the court. So the Cougars back up on top 7-6.
Done there by Bills right there to get the point for the Cougars right there. Just gently taps it over the net right there. Now then we see that.
Zenlik's attempt blocked, but it dies down, so Cougars get the point. They're now up by a pair, 8-6. And Ron, what's important here, Cougars, they have a little bit of momentum. As that momentum quickly dies down, but whenever the Cougars get something like that, get a couple points in a row, like we were just talking about, it's important for them to continue that trend because Marian is such a hard team to put runs against. When you do get the start of one, you have to keep going with it.
Indeed. In fact, there haven't been many runs so far, but we've seen how critical it has been for the Cougars when they have gotten those runs. Remember, of course, you go all the way back in the opening set, when they were down late in the set, so they had that good run to close out the set. It's going to be key for them to get a few points in a row and sort of try to separate themselves from Marian.
Well, Marian's not going to let that happen. The David Vales attack error leads to an 8-8 game. Velasco serve up, over. And this will turn into an ace, heads up in the crowd. And now the Sabres retake the lead, 9-8. Aaron Velasco to serve once again. Reception error charge to Blake Rosen on that one. And how about another service ace for Velasco? Sabres up by a pair again, 10-8. Rosen for Mosher for Vales. Finally gets it back to the Marian side, so 3 service ace in a row will not be happening for Velasco. Combs. And whistle is blown. 2-touch rule called on the Sabres. Can't do that, so Cougars get the point and the ball now.
Well, we continue to see the trend of both teams just trading points. And so far, Cougars will look to retake the lead, tie it at first.
Blocked up front. Andre Moeller, the freshman.
Well, the Cougars came into the day #1 in the conference in blocks, and right there, good effort right there and work by the freshman Moeller right there.
Combs. Wills goes off a blocker's hand and out, so Marian back on top, 11-10 now.
Sabres serving 11, Cougars 10. Serving is number 10, Mark Ray.
Mark Ray to serve. The one goes out. Luke Vozenelik gives the little face dodge there.
Lewis will get set to serve it up. Back tie, 11 apiece.
So men's volleyball, not the only team in action today wearing the maroon and gold. As Marian, that block goes out of bounds. So Cougars take the lead, 12-11. Men's baseball finished up their Florida trip down in Arbondale, Florida, with an 8-5 win over the University of Minnesota Morris. So those players are heading back to campus some point this weekend. The softball team got back this morning after their Florida trip ended with games yesterday. And after today's spring sports will be out of commission until Wednesday when this men's volleyball team travels to IIT. And then the Saturday after that, things really start to kick into high gear for spring sports at CUC. The lacrosse teams, the men's volleyball team, softball, baseball, you got stunt, dance. I don't know if I'm forgetting anyone else there, but an exciting time. Track and field, they'll be back on the course soon enough. after their indoor season ended recently. A couple all-conference honorees for CUC. As Marian ties things up here in Geisman at 13 points. Derek Wills. Rosen, Mosher, Hollaback blocked up front. And Cougars cannot recover off the block of diving David Vales. Unable to get a hand on it, and now serving again is Wills. Rosen for Mosher. Rozenelik, a high push. Marian's going to try to fight back, and Rosen pulling out some acrobatics to get a hand on it. Doesn't go anywhere useful for the Cougars, and now Marian starting to pull away again, 15-13. And Rafa, this is where we saw them start to pull away in the last set. So you know the Cougars right now, they're going to do everything they can to prevent that from happening, but it's also going to be swimming around the back of the minds that this is where things really started to fall apart last set.
Indeed, and now see here the Cougars trying to sort of get back, get the lead down. Deficit of one, I should say. As Muller hits it, and a point right there for Marian.
So Mullen gets the point, and that'll force a timeout, his first of the set for Coach Manos. So we'll take a break up here as well. Be back in just a bit. Marian up on the Cougars, middle of set 4, 16-13. You're watching the Cougar Sports Network. Back here in Geisman Gymnasium. Cougar fans, be sure to check out our YouTube page, CUC Sports. You get all kinds of cool digital content like interviews, broadcasts, and a bunch of other things from the Cougar Sports Network. Now, for just $5 a month, that's right, just $5, you can receive exclusive access to content as well as the ability to participate in live chats during the broadcast. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, CUC Sports, click the join button, and you will become a member. If you don't want to at the moment, that's okay. You can still donate to CUC Athletic Communications by using the thank button on any video that helps improve broadcasts like the one you're watching. No matter what you do, in the end of the day, we sincerely appreciate your support. Now Mosher, Vozenelik hits the back corner. Gets the Cougars off right after the timeout. Still trail Marian 16-14 as we're starting to hit the end of set number 4.
The Cougars are going to have a chance here in this set. It's all going to come down to, well, it sounded like right there is just the last time. It's going to go as a service error for him.
Not able to afford those right now when your team's closing in, when your opponent's closing in on 25 points. Marian now just 8 away, the Cougars 11. And coming in to serve is Javian Velasco. It's Rosen for Hollaback, and it's out of play. It's a 4-point lead once again for Marian.
The struggles continue so far for the Cougars on their attacks.
Trying to avoid the 3-1 loss, trying to pull off the very uncommon 0-2 comeback. And they lead the Cougars by 3 here. Both teams within set point now. Cougars 10 away from match point. Combs. And here goes Muller. Popped up by Garcia. It's going to land in the stands, point 19 for Marian.
All right there. Garcia's worked defensively right there. Good effort by him. Just too much power behind the attack right there. Muller.
Muller's serve hits the net, so Cougars right back in it, down by 3. Running out of runway, however, is Marian closer and closer to point number 25. Ray, Rosen's right there. Mosher, Moeller tries to jam it down. Marian on top of things, and the Cougars kept it alive. What an effort from CUC. The volley isn't over yet. And David Vales sends that one out, so the attack error ends the volley. What an effort defensively from the Cougars, though.
Great defensive effort right there at the front line by the Cougars. Heartbreaking at the end. Unfortunately, unable to get the point. But just goes to show, though, how hard these Cougars are still playing here in the set.
And that'll be a timeout by Coach Greg Manos. His team down by 4. Marian just 5 points away from forcing the shortened set number 5. We're going to see if they can do it after a quick break here on the Cougar Sports Network. We'll be back in just a minute. Set 4 about to resume here in Geisman Gymnasium. The Sabres of Marian University up 20-16 over the Cougars. And Ralph, this is kind of like a diet version of what we saw last set, where things were pretty close up until the middle of the set, and then Marian really started to pull away with things. Now up by 4, and obviously, you're not going to hear Coach Manos or his team make any excuses, but this is a Cougars team who has played a lot of volleyball within the past week or so. Those 10 home games I mentioned earlier, those date back just to February 25th, so 2 Saturdays ago. So in the past 2 weeks, the Cougars, they've played 10 matches, which is, it's a lot of volleyball. So, again, you don't want to make excuses, but I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a little bit of tiredness creep into the Cougars game after that long stretch of games, as well as the game last night against St. Norbert.
Indeed, it's sort of, we began to see that at the end, of the third set, and now here throughout the fourth set, there's just the fatigue at some point. They're playing so much volleyball, the body can only hold on so long.
Well, and rest management is something that Coach Manos really puts emphasis on. If players need a practice off, they need a lighter practice, he's not afraid to give it to them. He mentioned keeping track of things like how many jumps they take in a game, how many times their hand hits the ball on a block or an attack or whatever it may be, and then using all those calculations to figure out what's going to be best for his players' load management come the practice time. So Andre Moeller sneaks that attack inside the line. Cougars back within 3. But like I said earlier, Rafa, this is not a team that you can just score 1 or 2 points again before you let them score. The Cougars really need to go on a big run here. Down by 3, Marian just 4 away from claiming the set.
Indeed, and see Lipsy right here. He serves up. They're able to try to extend their lead, and they do from Willis. They're now only 3 points away from match point.
So set point creeping up for the Sabres, 22-18. Back to serve A.J. Miller. Hollaback, a strong kill there. Cougars back within 3, but They got to start stringing some of these together. Down by 3. Marian just 3 away from forcing a set 5.
It always starts with 1, and hopefully this is the start of a run right here for the Cougars late in the set.
Eli Mosher, the serve. Combs. And the kill for Ornitas Hayes. And now 2 points away from set point for Marian. Wills. Into the net, Cougars. They'll hit point number 20. Now Luke Vozenelik to serve.
Cougars giving a little lifeline right here.
Blocked up front, David Vales, Colby Campbell. We haven't seen a block that emphatic from the Cougars in a while. Maybe it'll be a momentum swing here.
It's the team's 9th block of the day as they continue to show why they are #1 in the conference in blocks. So we have a timeout.
And now Marian calls a timeout. Coach Wills trying to get his team calmed down. They just need 2 points to force set 5. And Rafa, let's play devil's advocate a little bit. This is a set 5 the Cougars really don't want to go to because Marian's going to have all the momentum in the world, down 2-0 in the match after the Cougars come out, take care of business in sets 1 and 2. Now Marian comes roaring back, wins set 3 in dominating fashion. They've they've controlled set 4 for most part of it. If they get that set 5, all that momentum is going to be for the team in blue. That's going to be a tall task for the Cougars to overcome.
It is going to be a tough task for the Cougars, but they have been here before in the 5th set. You know, in their 4-game winning streak, they've had 2 games going in the 5th set against Wabash and Augustana. So they're accustomed to the situation. Whereas Marian, they've only had 2 games this year, 3 games in 5 sets, in which the most recent one was a loss last Saturday to Aurora. So should the Cougars have to go to a 5th set, they're a lot more equipped and a lot more experienced in that 5th and final set.
(23-21). Vozenelik, his serve is over. Marian on the attack, try to jam it over. It hits the top of the net. Cougars able to recover. Hollaback, and this will be a kill. Cougars pull within 1.
Back now, continuing to perform here in this 4th set. Now with 14 kills.
Things coming down to the wire here in set 4. Campbell pops it up with the fist. Vales sends it over. And that will bring up set point. Cougars, they need to score at least 2 in a row without giving up a Marian point. And it starts here on the serve from Javian Velasco.
Number 21, Javian Velasco will serve for set point.
Velasco looking to close it out right here.
Vales for Mosher. Hollaback, it's blocked. Cougars take care of business though. Vales. Blocked again, and we are going to set 5.
It looked not that long ago that the Cougars had a chance potentially, after the 2nd set to maybe sweep the
Some technical difficulties on the nothing. What's it picking up? Some technical difficulties on the Cougar Sports Network. Apologies for that. We are back now here in set number 5. One 1 tie as JV and Velasco. And Tyler Hollaback sends it right back to Velasco.
Hollaback right there with the finish, hammering it down. As he now has 15 kills on the day. Which ties him both. And Velazek with 15 each.
Reminder, set 5 only goes to 15 points as there's a big block and it hits the court. Defense to offense just like that. Cougars up by 2 now. As I was saying, in set 5, it is first to 15. So Cougars now just 12 away from claiming the match. Meanwhile, Marian back again here on the Cougar Sports Network. Still experiencing some technical difficulties, so once again apologize for everyone trying to watch at home. Meanwhile, here in River Forest, Cougars 5-2 here in set 5, first to 15.
The point right there goes to Marian. So now cut back the deficit to 5-3.
5-3 is the Cougars' lead. The serve from Wills, played by Vozenelik. Mosher now for Hollaback off the blocker's hands. Wills goes up to get the pop up, and now go off some blocker's hands and out now. Sabres pull within 1, 5-4. 4 serving to 5. And to do it is Derek Wills.
Out of bounds right there on the attempt from Campbell, and it's a 5-5 game. All tied up right here in the final set.
So Wills now gets set to serve. And it lands out of bounds, so Cougars back on top, 6-5. And Deontay Garcia will check in for the serve. Today the freshman come in for a couple serves. The only statistic he's recorded is a dig of the major statistics, and you'll get a service error there. That'll be service error number 2 on Garcia on the day. And now it'll be 26 for Marian, coming into serve, Trent Guson. Mosher for Vales, and off the dig attempt and out. 7-6 now in favor of CUC. Nice play there up front by Marian, batting it backwards to get a clean attack on it. And now we're knotted up at 7, trying to get over the halfway point is Marian with Cam Moeller serving. Moeller, the serve. Vozenelik off his hands. Now Mosher to Moeller. That freshman connection does not pan out. Another attempt. Vales right there. Mosher for Hollaback. High dig there by Combs. We're still going, and it off the blocker's hands and out. So first to hit the over the halfway point is Marian. They're now up 8-7.
Marian again continuing to find the soft spot right there in between the front line and the back line once again.
Vozenelik, Moeller, able to get it over the net, and just finishing off the play is Mark Ray. Right spot, right time for the senior. And now that'll force Coach Manos to call a timeout. Cougars, they're down by 2, Rafa, as Marian's getting closer and closer to get this set 5 win the match. And this is where the mental aspect of the game really comes into play for the Cougars. You're up 2-0 in the match, feeling great, and all of a sudden Marian turns on the afterburners, able to catch up, dominate set 3, play good enough to win set 4, and now we're here in set 5. They're just 6 points away from coming back from the 0-2 hole and winning the match. What do the Cougars need to do to essentially forget about that? Because that can just bring you down as a team. You need to throw that out the window and instead focus on, well, Roth, I guess that's what I asked you. What do they need to focus on here? You know, throw that baggage away. What are they going to need to think about to execute the best of their abilities?
You have to go back to sort of the fundamentals and what helped them in the first opening 2 sets, which was being very efficient in hitting the ball and also just, you know, forget about what's happened so far in this set. Yes, you are down by 2, but look, there's still a little bit of time left. And more importantly, you know, we figure out the identity of a team not through winning, but rather through adversity. And right now, the Cougars are in the midst of dealing with adversity at the moment.
Teams make their way back out to the court. Muller still serving, trying to hit point number 10 for his team. The serve is up and over. Vozenelik for Mosher, and Vozenelik just going to float that over. Marian takes control, and a block goes out of bounds. Point number 10 for Marian.
Marian edging more and more closer to the finish line, and for the Cougars, that time is slipping away from them.
And that serve goes out of play, so the Cougars pull within 2 again, 10-8. Here's David Vales. Great dig, Blake Rosen going all the way down for it. Vozenelik, it's still alive, but it ends up dying on the Cougars' end. Point 11 for Marian. The last time the Sabres won a 5-set game was back on January 20th, the season opener. They won 3-2 over Trine. Since then, they lost a 5-setter against Aurora March 4th. And before that, their last 5-set game was on January 21st, a 3-2 loss versus Stevenson University. Block gets sent back over, but out of play. Cougars still within 2. Still looking for that big run, though.
It's an opportunity right here for the Cougars to get that run and tie it up right here, and they'll do so, hopefully here through the junior Christopher Lipsey.
Chris Lipsey ready to serve. Combs. Wills. Diving dig there, David Vales. And that one blocked, hits the net, and Sabres now 3 away from set victory and match victory as well.
No one could have guessed at the beginning after the second set that Marian would be at this point now, only needing 3 more points to pull off a little bit of a mini upset right here after being down in the opening 2 sets. With timeout. The Cougars.
So timeout called by Coach Manos and the Cougars. They got to get things figured out quick. Marian just 3 points away from winning the match. Meanwhile, the Cougars, they still need 6. So we'll be back on the Cougar Sports Network in just a second. Don't go anywhere, though. Set 5 coming to its conclusion. set 5 coming back. Players coming back onto the court. Marian up on CUC 12-9. This was once a match. CUC led 2-0. And now Marian just 3 points away from winning set 5. Pulling off the comeback and handing the Cougars their first loss in 4 games. A bad start there for Marian out of a timeout. Cougars need to go on a run here, down by 2. The serve played by Wills. Here goes Muller into the net. Cougars, they aren't going anywhere yet. They pull within 1. And back to serve now is Mosher. Mosher's serve is played by Wills. And it goes off the blocker's hands and out. Clean blocks have been a struggle for the Cougars since that second set, the last set they won. Marian's taking advantage of it, and they're now just 2 away from match victory. And the Cougars, some miscues on their part. That was supposed to just be a freebie sent over by Velasco. And now for match point. A.J. Miller, received by Vales. Mosher pops it up. Vozenelik keeps the Cougars alive. One more volley.
The Cougars remain alive thanks to Vozenelik as he will serve it up. Still not out of it just yet are the Cougars.
Vozenelik, the serve. It's over. Wills for the win. Vozenelik keeps it alive. Rosen to Vales, blocked up front. Campbell right there. Mosher, Vales again. Velasco right there. Miller to Wills, blocked, and that's it. So Marian pulls off the comeback. Cougars up 2-0 in the match. And coming all the way back was Marian. Dominated set 3. Led for most of set 5 from the middle point on, and then took care of business here in set number 5. And they hand the Cougars their first loss since that loss against Cal Lutheran on March 4th. Some of the stat leaders from the match: Luke Vozenelik and Tyler Hollabeck had 16 kills each. The match leader, however, was Derek Wills with 18 kills. Assists: Eli Mosher at 37, A.J. Miller with 35, and Diggs. Leader was Carzell Combs with 18, and then blocking-wise, the leader on the day was Mark Ray with 7. Well, Rafa, we saw Marian, they had their backs against the ropes, came back, pulled off the unlikely upset, the unlikely comeback to take down a extremely hot Cougars team. Now this is the loss the Cougars are going to have to sit with until Wednesday. But at least to you, what was really the turning point of this match? When did Marian take control of things and obviously did not look back all the way until their set 5 win?
You know, when we entered into the third set, halfway through, you know, I think the biggest difference in the game wasn't what Marian did, but rather what the Cougars didn't do. And was, you know, they weren't able to sort of hit and efficiently do their kills, and that cost them, throughout the third set and then the fourth set as well. But also give credit to Marian, for their willpower, to sort of, band together in the end and pull off an improbable comeback. And for the Cougar side of things, it's a tough one to swallow. I mean, being up, 2 sets to nothing, on the way to potentially sweep the set, to now going to the locker room, losing. It's tough for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back on Wednesday.
Well, Marian, they'll be back in action this Wednesday at the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Meanwhile, your Cougars start a 3-game road trip this Wednesday as well at the Illinois Institute of Technology. That's a 7 p.m. first serve time. Coverage can be found, as always, on our website, cucougars.com. One more thanks to everybody making this production possible. Ryan McGee working the production shelf, helping us navigate through some of those technical difficulties. Amaya Martin over on the camera. Kate Johnson down at the scores table. We are under the direction of Claire Hickey, Cindy Plossis-Slaher, and Kayla McLeod. Is joined by Rafael Gonzalez on the call tonight. One more time, Cougars drop the match to Marian 3-2. Then, until next time, this is Peter Borkowski signing off of the Cougar Sports Network and wanting to say, as always, go Cougars.